The Keurig machine is controversial among coffee lovers. I mean, if you're the kind of a person, like many of us, who searches rare and exotic beans, grinds them moments before brewing, and then very carefully gets the water to coffee ratio just right at just the right temperature, this is probably not going to be your favorite coffee maker. But on the other hand, sometimes we don't need a cup brewed right. We need a cup brewed right now. And at that, the Keurig really doesn't do such a bad job. So join us for our review of the Keurig K-15, and we'll see whether or not it's possible to live with one of these things, even if you are a coffee freak like me. Hello, I'm Scott Fisher with HomeGrounds, where our mission is to help you brew better quality coffee in the comfort of your own home. Now, if you're the kind of person who loves a pour-over lovingly crafted with exotic single-source beans, or a shot of espresso that you pull just to the perfect yield, better quality coffee and Keurig might not be two phrases you'd use in the same sentence. But as it turns out, the Keurig was really designed to do two very specific things. First, to brew a fresh cup of coffee one at a time so that it didn't sit around in the office coffee maker. Yeah, it was actually designed for office use. And the second one, again for office use, is to do it in less than 2 minutes. Well, it turns out a lot of people like these same characteristics at home. So let's take a look at what the Keurig actually does, how to make it work for you, and we'll see whether or not this is really something you like. So first, let's take a look at the important parts of the Keurig. The first thing you need to know about, the water chamber. Lift the lid, pour your water in here. There are little indicators to tell you whether you're going to be brewing a 6, 8, or 10 ounce cup of coffee. Next, the brew chamber. This is where the K-cup goes. So you insert it in here, press it down. We'll show you how that works in a minute, and then close it. Once that's ready, place your cup on the drip tray, and you can start brewing. Now let's take a look at the process of brewing a cup of coffee in the K-15. I always like to put the cup in first because there's nothing I hate more, especially first thing in the morning, than realizing there's coffee all over the counter because I forgot to put the cup in. Next, press the power button, that's this one on the bottom, and you'll see that there's a flashing blue indicator here that says to lift the lid. That's because the Keurig now wants you to put in water. We've already measured 8 ounces because we know that's how much goes in that cup. So you pour the water into the reservoir and close the lid. Now, the Keurig knows that there's water in there, so it's telling you to raise the lid on the brewing chamber. That's the second icon. Now, when you do that, you'll hear a gurgle as the water moves from the reservoir into the heating chamber. It's now getting ready to brew, but you still need something else. There are something like 500 different flavors of coffee. We've selected a Kona Classic from the Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. You need to press it first because there's a needle on the bottom that punctures a hole in the cup. That's where the coffee can come out. But how does the water get in? When you close this, it punches a hole in the top so that the heated water can get in. This button here, this is the brew button, and as you can see, there's a blue ring around it. This tells you that everything is ready for you to start. So you press that, it changes to a flashing red. So you can see the red light is still flashing. It's been about 30 seconds since I punched it. But you can also hear the water starting to heat up. So it takes just a little over 60 seconds for the water to get hot enough to brew. And you'll know when that happens because this light will change from a flashing red to a solid red. When that happens, and here you go. You can hear the pump working, and there it is. Coffee is streaming out into my coffee cup. It takes, in our tests, we found out that it takes just a little over a minute for the water to heat sufficiently to start brewing, and it takes a little under a minute for the coffee to be fully brewed and for your cup to be filled up to its level. So yeah, it really does give you a cup of coffee in about 2 minutes. And there, that wonderful sound that means that the water's empty, the light goes off and your coffee is done. So there are a few other ways that the K-15 simplifies making coffee. First of all, the footprint, and that goes beyond just the fact that it's narrow and not very deep. You also don't have to have all of the other paraphernalia that you need for doing pour over or espresso. Like you don't need a grinder, a scale, filters, one of those nifty gooseneck kettles. And although they're part of making, frankly, really great coffee, there's something that you don't need for this. Now this can be a benefit if you're setting up a vacation home, if you're actually putting it in an office setting, or if you have a very small kitchen and you don't have enough room for everything on it. The Keurig can be a lifesaver in that sense. Plus, you've also got tremendous variety. There are more than 500 flavors that you can get of all different kinds of things, not only coffee, but also herbal tea, regular tea, and even hot cocoa. So if you've got somebody living with you who doesn't drink coffee, they can still get a nice hot cup of something. Now, if you have a favorite whole bean coffee and you really want to use it in your Keurig, we've got a solution for that too. There are a number of reusable, refillable K-cups like these. Some of them have a mesh filter inside it. You can also get a paper filter if you really like that clean flavor. What this does is, literally you can go down to your favorite cafe, buy your favorite roast, grind them up, and use them in the Keurig. This has one other advantage though, and that is that the plastic K-cups, once you've used them, stay in the landfill for a long time. So a refillable unit like this will really reduce the environmental impact of your Keurig. So there you have it. The Keurig K-15 is a bare bones single serve coffee maker with some limitations, but a few really good points. The most significant one, you can get a cup of freshly brewed hot coffee in 2 minutes flat. And while it may not be the very best cup of coffee you've ever had in your life, it's still better than most of the hotel automatic drip coffee makers that you'll run into. If you really love coffee, you can up your game significantly by going to one of these refillables. The idea of being able to put freshly ground single source beans into a Keurig is going to elevate this to a whole different level. For additional reviews, brewing guides, and more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, this is Scott Fisher with HomeGrounds asking, how do you take your coffee?